Alright, sorry for breaking the video up, but I got a phone call from Claire, and I recorded it as well. Like I said, I record everything. I also blocked a troll from my channel, which, well, I also made a recording of the stuff that was on his channel. I made sure it's on a different phone, that way I can actually play it while I'm using this one to record. Sorry about the delay.
Mr. Shorts, have you ever watched your own videos? I'm not positive, but I get a vibe like that. Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
Obviously. I get a lot of hecklers like that. What did I do? Of course, I blocked him. Now, he did want to make a request that I post up some evidence that I've already posted up, which I come to expect from these people. They want me to post up evidence that either A, I've already posted up, or B, evidence that doesn't exist. These people are horrible. On the bright side, at least I continue to speak up. Somebody has to. These people think it's okay to assault me, to threaten my life, to lie about me. Now, they get away with it by calling me mentally ill and preventing evidence from going to court, but that's the problem. You talk about my rights. I don't have any because of bias against the homeless, against men, and against the disabled. Every time they call me mentally ill to try to prevent evidence from being shown in court, they are breaking the law. Of course I speak up. Then there's the abuse by Andrew Wolnez, who still thinks it's okay to continue this stuff. Still walks by and screams, "Fuck you." Well, with the protection order, he's not supposed to be allowed to do that. Not that it matters. I can't go to the cops because I don't have anyone to go to the cops with me. What I've got is a bunch of liars. People who claim they're going to, but at the end of the day, they never keep their word. Instead of listening to understand, they want to interrupt me over and over again, and then they know nothing about my situation, and I know everything about theirs. Because I'm retaining the information when they're interrupting me. I'm remembering what it is that they're telling me. But are they remembering what it is that I told them? And when they say, "Oh, I believe you," well, it's easy to believe somebody who hasn't said anything. If you don't let them finish what they're saying, you've only got little bits and pieces of the story that you're making assumptions on. And of course, let's just press play on this. We'll hear how the rest of it went on this phone call. This is still from Thursday morning. How much pain are you able to take before you react? You know, if they're physically assaulting you and you hold still, they yell at you, "Stop playing possum." But the moment you move, they're like, "Stop resisting." So, like, there's literally nothing you can do.
Yeah, they're like, "Why are you angry?" I'm not angry. I'm frustrated.
I'm scared. I'm scared. That's what it is. I'm scared. For good reason. When I go in to talk to them alone, they talk me in circles and pull the mentally ill thing. That's why a friend or family member is the most important part. The next one, it says, "seems depressed." Well, duh. but it's situational depression.
You'd be depressed too.
Yep, the next one says, have nightmares or difficulty sleeping. I got both of those issues. Lives in an unhealthy or unsafe environment. I've been shipped from one unhealthy and unsafe environment to another. The next one says, shows signs of not being cared for, such as poor hygiene or dirty clothes. Well, I'm fucking homeless. Now you can tell there that since I'm reading her the paperwork, the guidelines that we're supposed to follow, and what qualifies, as I'm reading this stuff to her, I'm having to power through it because every one of those sounds that she's making in the background is potentially going to turn into a long-winded story. And at this point, I need to bring it back to the paperwork that I'm reading.
Because, like, the resources available to you, it's like, oh, once a week you could drive all the way out here and you could do your laundry.
If you have a car, which I don't anymore.
If you have a car.
All right, so this is the most important page right here. This is the part that, for you or anybody else, it's the most important part to pay attention to. It says, how can elder abuse be prevented? And this goes the same for a disabled person, by the way. That's why they gave me this paperwork. Although a lot of people have gotten into an argument over it with
Sean,
That's me going off topic a second.
My little one
Yes, ma'am.
needs to ask a question. Yeah?
She wanted food, so obviously if you want to have something to eat, it's something that we do need to take a break for, and absolutely I suggested it, and absolutely we did it.
Just a second, okay?
So
how about
the thing is,
5 minutes?
with the conversations that her and I have, and trying to keep stuff private, and trying to make it so that
I'll get you breakfast, okay?
Obviously food, right? Tell her a thank you for me when you get off the phone.
I will.
So I'll try to read this super quick. I know you can actually understand it. How can elder abuse be prevented? This is page 3. It says if you are a family member or a friend. That's what it says first. Family member or friend. It doesn't even address me. It says, for you guys, are supposed to try to see the person regularly. That's not going to happen. Frequent visits will help you determine if the person shows signs of abuse or neglect. Get to know the staff who are taking care of the person. Express any concerns you may have right away. Keep notes of the conversations. Take pictures if there are signs of abuse or poor health standards. Offer to accompany.
Go ahead. I'm still listening.
Yes, ma'am. Offer to accompany the person to medical appointments, financial institutions, and other important meetings. So that's what friends or family are supposed to do to prevent this stuff to begin with. And I tried all of those things. But none of my friends and family wanted to do anything, obviously, other than give me bad advice. And most of them had been lied to the same as you. Lied to about what constitutes a witness, lied to about how they can't make a report. You can't make a report for somebody else. No, this is a witness statement. Big difference. And
may I ask really quick before I forget?
Yep.
What is your exact age?
I was born October 18th, 1980, so I am 45 years old.
Okay, so yeah, we're in the same age groups. Yeah, so okay. All right. Got it.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about the lights and Rainbow Bright earlier. I guess I was talking about Rainbow Bright yesterday. But it says,
all those things like watching Labyrinth and Legend for the first time.
I literally watched The Goonies and The Labyrinth.
Atreyu. Anyway.
I watched The Goonies yesterday, and I watched The Labyrinth a couple days before. I'm going to get back to this, though.
Okay.
So all of those, obviously, I don't have a... Now, through this, I'm trying to read the paperwork and also give a little bit of explanation of the situation. And it's really hard for her to stay on topic. And for me, the only reason I'm able to stay on topic with all of this interruptions and stuff is that I literally had the piece of paper in my hand and was reading from the piece of paper. So I was able to have that physical reminder and obviously visual reminder of what it was required to stay the course. Somebody to do those, and somebody needs to speak very clearly about the concern over not having any of that. You can only do so much from where you're at, and when you were here, you didn't understand things well enough because of your own bullshit that was going on, and that is not your fault. It's also not mine. So, it's a situation where they need to be aware that even though there's somebody who cares, there's not anybody who's capable of doing that job. I have no one in person to help me with the appointments, take me to the appointments, set up the appointments. I have nobody to visit with me regularly. The only people that even associate with me regularly are the drug addicts who want to take advantage of me for what I have. The next one, this is where it addresses me. If you're an older person, it says remain active. Yeah, lots of drug addicts offer to help me in exchange for getting paid. Yes, I'm willing to pay people to look at evidence and help me to turn this stuff in. But they need to take it seriously. A friend or family member wouldn't ask for money to do this stuff. They would take it serious immediately. They wouldn't make excuses like the hearsay excuse. If I tell them what you told me, that's hearsay. If you tell them, that's a witness. Well, the police keep trying to keep the fact that the Natalie Bollinger situation is very real, and so is the abuse. They want to keep that out of court by whatever means they can. But the fact is that it is far too public for them to continue getting away with that forever, especially when in every state that I've been in, I've gotten paper verification showing that these people were aware. But they continued in every state to pull this delusional crap at the request of police officers. Avoid isolation and cultivate a strong support network of family and friends. Be active in taking care of your health problems. Do what you can to remain healthy. Avoid signing documents or transferring money or property to anyone without first getting legal advice. Well, I can't get the legal advice when I'm locked in a room and don't have a friend or family member to do any of that with me.
And you're isolated because of the stigma from the A&E episode.
And not just A&E, like Mike Boudet, his thing was, he made his first 109 came out before Natalie was killed, and he basically just slandered me through the whole thing. 110 came out after they found her killer. Or 109 came out before they found her killer, but after she was killed. 110 came out after they found her killer. And both of them, they basically just make me out to be the worst person ever, and then they made actually a third one that nobody likes because it was basically just making fun of me the whole time. So, like, I'm being not just attacked. Yeah, one of the things that I've had to try to explain to Miss Claire and me, repeatedly, is that this didn't start when Natalie was killed. This abuse did not start when Natalie was killed. The abuse started before Natalie was killed. And there's a lot more to it that, like this situation here, that she's obviously not understanding it, not understanding the timeline of when things happened. By people in real life, I'm being attacked over what these quote-unquote internet celebrities have to say about the situation and about what police officers who did wrong things and got Natalie Bollinger killed had to say.
Well, and they're doing it for content. They don't really care what's going on with
they're
you.
Making a profit off of me. There was a guy who got a hold of me today, and he calls himself, let me find this, The Villain's Crime, and that's the name of his channel. He sent a message to me saying, "Hi Sean, I'm Robert. we're preparing coverage related to the Natalie Bollinger case and wanted to ask if you consider speaking with us for an interview. Our goal is to be fair. Sorry, I had to click on something to read the rest of it. Our goal is to be fair and accurate and to give you space to share your perspective on the case in your own words. We recognize this is a sensitive subject and we'll respect your time boundaries and any topics you'd prefer not to discuss. Well, you know me, I'm not afraid to discuss any topic. It says, if you're open to it, what's the best way to connect and what time works best for you? So I tried to message them and I forwarded that email from Natalie Bollinger so they know that, yeah, I'm seriously the motherfucker it came from. They pretend it's all schizophrenia except for that email, and then they forget to tell their viewers that I'm the one who exposed that email. Like, that's literally what I had to do to try to get a stop to the assaults before Natalie was killed. All right, so let me finish this real quick, and then I'm gonna hang up on you for probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes to let you take care of your kid with the food.
Yep.
All right. It says, ask for professional help right away if you need help managing your health care, daily living, or finances. I've done that everywhere that I've been.
They pretend that I'm able to over and over and over.
They pretend that because I'm able to speak English that I'm not overwhelmed, and therefore my PTSD and the autism issues associated with PTSD and overwhelmed don't obviously exist because I can speak English. It's fucking stupid. So somebody else needs to explain that to them. It says, assert your right to be treated with respect and dignity. They've gone out of their way to show me absolutely no respect and dignity. Ask a family member or a friend you trust to represent you as power of attorney in case you need this. Do not allow anyone who you do not choose to become involved in your financial affairs. Well, I haven't had a choice in that. I've been deprived of most of my finances due to false arrests. Right now I can't get into my Facebook because they automatically did two-factor authentication because so many people from these different websites were trying to get into my YouTube, get into my Facebook, get into my emails, basically anything they could do to try to get into that stuff. And, obviously with that stuff being full of evidence, it is important. It says, what are the treatments for someone who is abused or neglected? It says medical treatment for any injuries, being seen by a healthcare provider if there are memory problems like dementia. Well, what about if you're overwhelmed? It's not that there's a memory problem. You have too many memories jumbled up. You can't separate one abusive situation from another because they're jumbled up. Like, you know who assaulted you, and you know how they assaulted you, but you don't remember exactly what day it was.
You can picture it in your head. You can replay the memory in your head from what I'm seeing on your test score.
Yep.
You can replay the memory in your
head. Now, how many times has she brought that up over and over and over again? Yes. So, yes, I'm very good with the visual memory thing. But I'm also very good with words and understanding of words. But in the test, obviously, since I was trying and struggling to stay conscious so we could finish the test, not all of my scores were the greatest that they could have been. However, under extreme circumstances, that's what I had to take the test under. These were extreme circumstances. However, one of the things about those extreme circumstances is that, well, Leslie Carter didn't write down those extreme circumstances. She wrote down her assumption of my circumstances. So a lot of the stuff that she got to see as evidence went into her assessment, but also what some of the people who were my predators had to say also went into that assessment because these people have a position of power.
But does that mean that you can, rattle off a name and a badge number? And
yes, if they're not repeatedly interrupting me. If they're not repeatedly interrupting me, I can absolutely do that. That's how they intentionally overwhelm me. As soon as I get to that part, they start speaking over me. As soon as I get to that part, or they'll
repeatedly ask me at a part where they know that it's going to take a second to try to remember the name of something because I'm in the middle of an important detail that if it's recorded, they will literally legally have to do something. So they interrupt me to ask stuff that they don't need to and hope that I forget about it because at that point, when they realize you're turning one of them in, they talk 200 miles an hour over you, tell you about how they don't have time for this, about how they're too busy, about how you did it the wrong way, even though you did it how you were told to do it the first time. Obviously, it says support groups or mental health counseling if the older person seems lonely, anxious, or depressed, and financial guidance to help manage money or property. So obviously I do need those things. I'm going to hang up on you now, not because I don't think that you're beautiful. Your personality is absolutely glowing and all that. I don't think anybody's pretty really, so if I don't tell people they're pretty,
no, I get it. I get it.
All right, good.
It's fine.
Because that was something with a lot of people in my life that, if I don't tell somebody they're pretty, then they think that they're ugly, and I don't want to tell anybody that they're pretty because I don't want them to get the wrong impression. You can tell
me that I look like a fucking troll, and I don't care. Like, it's fine, Sean.
The last time I saw you, you looked kind of like a chia pet.
Probably, yeah, because I had to shave my head.
Yeah, and you had the blonde, funky, tall locks going on, but the light was fucking nasty and full of dead flies. And that was over at the parking lot over by Tillamook Oregon. No, the one catty corner from there. The ugly ass bug light. They cleaned that out, by the way. It's yellow again.
Yeah, the literal last time I saw her was at Fred Meyer's.
But no, it's okay. You can tell me I'm ugly and haggish, and I've had my teeth busted out from abuse, and so I know it's fine. You don't have to butter me up. I'm here for you. I said I'd be here for you, and here I am. So
3 of the places that we're going to contact when we get back on are on this paper, so we're following the paperwork that I was given. Be safe. I'll call you soon. Or you call me as soon as you're ready.
Okay. I'm just going to make food for the kid and try not to cough or sneeze through the whole thing, okay?
Yes, ma'am. And tell her thank you from me because she's helping me out a lot.
Okay, I will.
Obviously, Claire cannot stay on topic. She's incapable. That doesn't mean that I hate her or anything close to that. The thing is that it always becomes a conversation. Instead of focusing on what we need to focus on, she wants to change the subject. She wants to interrupt. She wants to... She's got opinions, but if her opinions aren't based on evidence, they're not very useful opinions. One of the things that police officers repeatedly did when I tried to turn them in is separate me from my evidence so I couldn't show it to a psychologist or whatever, but then they'd lie to the psychologist. So the psychologist is going to automatically take a police officer's word over the evidence that they're not able to see. And many of them, when you tell them they can simply look it up, they'll know that it's not a delusion just by looking it up in 30 seconds on the internet. They tell you they're not allowed to look at any of the details of your case. Well, then why are you going to make decisions? The police officer's got to tell you details of my case, even though what they said was unlawful because it was untrue. They have access to all of that paperwork. You have not been convicted, but this therapist has already assumed that you're guilty because he was told that you're guilty. When they lie with confidence. And unfortunately, these supposedly good people have no confidence. With Claire, I offered to turn it in with her. her stuff many, 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 many times. And she complains that nobody ever helped her to turn it in. Well, she had the opportunity. She went out with Casey instead. You know, that's not my fault, not my choice. I still tried to work with her after that. But also, this stuff that she's telling me, she doesn't need to tell me 400 times and interrupt what I'm saying 400 times and miss the point 400 times. And it's at least 400 times at this point. When we're having a conversation that's fine. But we need to focus on what we're going to do today. If we're going to turn in the abuse today, then we need to turn in the abuse. If you're going to look at the evidence, you need to look at the evidence. Not talk about evidence that you haven't seen, and not talk about yourself, and not interrupt and say, well, I'm going to make it about myself for a second. Yes, I know you're going to. But I need you to stop doing that because I've already heard all of your stories. We're not turning in your abuse, we're turning in mine. You've made it very clear that going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between you want to and you don't want to, talking about yourself, but then when I offer to turn it in with you, you don't want to turn it in because the border police are going to help you. But then you complain the border police and all this time haven't been helping you. They're not doing their jobs. They keep screwing up. But then you keep on trying to go along with it. Meanwhile, Boulder Police Department are the same fuckers that screwed up my case. They fucked up Jean Benet's case. They screwed up Teresa Macelia's case, and Kelly Clark's case, and a lot of other people's cases. They don't care about the poor.